Did you know that since 1940, we've been having female presidents in the world? The first country to do that is one country called Tuva, whereby now I think they've merged with another country, or maybe they've divided that, I don't know, but Tuva presented the first female president in the world in 1940. And Argentina, of course, also had Isabel. Isabel was in 1974. It was there for 1 year, 267 days. Bolivia has also got Lindia Tejada, who was there 1979 down to, she was only there for 244 days as an acting president. Vigdis of Iceland also became the president in 1980 to 1996. She was the longest world female president that ever served for there. She was there for 16 years. So many other countries. We've had Malta, we've had Sri Lanka, Ireland, and Philippines, and several other countries. But in Africa, we've also had at least 5 countries in Africa that have produced female president. Of course, you know of Liberia, we have Sir Johnson, who is the current president of Liberia. Gabon also had an acting president for 128 days. Her name is Rose, who was the president. And again, Mauritius also had an acting president. You also know that Joyce Banda is the present president of Malawi. And Central African Republic, the country that is being torn with war at the moment, is also having Catherine as their acting president. So today, I'll be looking at, female or the women in the development of the world economy, the social service, and every other area you want to think of. Presently, you know, we've been in Brazil. Brazil has got a female president. So we are talking about female. Who says female cannot do well what men can do? I won't be the one to complete that statement, though. My name is Moses Owopade, and the program is Trailblazers Africa. Today, I've got another woman who believes in Africa. A woman, if you ask me, if not for the fact that where she's coming from is a very tough place, very competitive, where men will always say they'll prefer to be in the position of authority. I would have suggested that we have her as our first female president. Well, I've got in the house Dr. Akosuah Sumney. She is the director of Mission African Institute of Technology. I'd like to welcome you to Trailblazers Africa.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that we have so many female leaders across the world. Anytime you look at that record and what we still have, how do you feel as a woman, especially the one championing the cause of women, not only in Africa, but in the world?
Well, I think, we need more women as presidents because, of course, we have seen the ones that we have, have led very well. And if they have done such tremendous work, why can't we have more? So in my opinion, I'm actually really expecting more women to be in that kind of capacity to be presidents and to be able to lead us, because I think they're doing very well. The women are doing very well.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less, because you are an advocate for women. You've been advocating for women development, women in power for how many years now?
I've been doing that since 1998. So that's quite a long time now, from the U.S. to Africa to some parts of Europe. So it's been quite a long time. But it's not only because I'm advocating for women. I've also seen the results of what women are doing. And even these women in power, we've seen it. We've seen what's going on around. You just mentioned a lot of the women. Look at what Liberia, look at what she's doing. Look at Brazil. Look at all that is going on. You can tell that the women are doing very well. So why not? Why can't we have more?
Yes, women are doing well. Why can't we have more? But then if you look at what you're doing now, one want to go back to your maybe background and say maybe it was that juicy for you because you had a very wonderful beginning. That is why you're also championing the cause of women. Let's take a look back into the young Dr. Akosuah when you were not a PhD holder. Before you become a PhD holder, was the road very smooth?
Oh my goodness, I wish, people see where you are now and they think that you've made it or it was so easy. It was not achievable. It was, growing up as a child, like my parents had 13 children and the focus was on the boys. And so my parents, I love them so much, they did well, but they made sure they educated my brothers after elementary school, and all the girls were left behind the banner And when we were told just to go and learn, my mom was a dressmaker, okay, not a fashion designer. And so my mom said she was gonna just help me to design, to sew with that sewing machine. And I actually went into a 2 weeks fast. I would not eat until, God sent somebody, one guy that came to my life, and he said, hey, you can go to teachers training college or you can be a nurse. And so I went and took the exams, and I passed both, and I chose the teachers training. And before I knew, I'm in the training college. I finished training college, was posted to different places to teach. I even found myself in Nigeria, working for Christian Council of Nigeria. But even before then, I had to sell oranges. Like you see those girls selling oranges on their head, I had to actually literally sell oranges and sell water, in order to be able to help myself through training college. So the road was not easy at all. It was unachievable. But I knew that there was something in me that had to come out. And I knew that I was more than just, sitting in the kitchen and just cooking, which is okay, but that wasn't me. So it wasn't achievable. If you want to look at it that way, it wasn't achievable at all. And then even going through my bachelor's, when I went to US, I had to work, take care of my children, take care of my husband, and do all these things. At the same time, do my community work, to do my bachelor's, my master's, and PhD. It's been a long road. It's been a very long, hard road. And I want to, tell every woman out there, don't ever think you can't do it. You can do it. Because if I did it, you can do it. It was not achievable.
Wow, if I do it, then you can do it. So says Dr. Sumney. Now, let's take a look at, you went into fasting for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What were you asking God for?
I think I was just repeating myself to God, telling him that I know there is more than what my parents can see in me. So I want him to bring it out. I want him to bring what it's in me that he has already put in me out. And I didn't have any strength. I didn't have any help. But I knew that with him, if he actually brought it out and set my path in the doors that he has already opened, he already created the doors, he would just set me through the door. So that I was confirming.
How old were you then when you were having all this, thought?
I was 15 and a half years. When I finished elementary school, I was 15 and a half years. And I was in the house for 1 full year, not doing anything else, where I could have been in other schools like other people, but I couldn't. So within this 1 year, from 15 and a half to 16 and a half, this was what I was struggling. And actually, I cried so many times.
But what gave you that confidence that there was something in you that was more than what your parents thought?
Yes. In the district where we were, Kropon district, we were, my mates, all the schools put together were 3,500. And when we took the final exams, I came first. As a girl, 15 and a half years, I came first. And so every exam we took in the district, I kept coming first. And so here I am, because my parents don't have money. I'm not able to pursue education. And even those who did not do very well are being able to go to school because their parents have money. So when I look at what I could do then, I look how many children I was tutoring, and actually turned my home into like a kind of school, helping other people to learn, especially girls, so they can also pass the exam and move ahead and go to, and go to higher school. And so I could see myself already championing
the cause of women.
Exactly, and people, even some boys will come to my classes, free classes. So here I am. I know that I have all this inbuilt in me, but I cannot get any help.
Sorry, we are not trying to blame the parents now.
I love them.
Was it because of money, or was it because of the, let me use the word, African mentality that women shouldn't be given that too much of, education or too much of encouragement? Because they will one day go to, now you are with Dr. Sumney.
Yes, yes. And I love my parents so well, and I would never blame them for anything. First of all, there was not enough money in the home. Okay. There were limited resources. And two, my mom never went to school, And so to her, being able to finish elementary school, I've done enough that I can just come and learn, sit under her and learn how to sew, you know, but my dad actually didn't have money for 13 children to take them to school, so I don't blame them. So he concentrated on the boys because they're thinking in Africa, then, even now, some of the villages are still thinking that if we have to choose between boys and girls, let us educate boys and leave the girls because of limited resources. So my parents didn't have that kind of money, and so they limited it on the boys. And then two, my mom not, you know, being educated, didn't think that I should be able to even have more education than the boys. She thought the boys must have more education than I should be behind the boys. But I didn't see that in me because I knew that educationally, I knew I was doing very well. I was very intelligent, you know. I wish somebody else would say it, but I have to say it. I was very, very intelligent. In the whole district, they knew that I was intelligent. And so even 1 year home, I would meet some of my teachers. They would say, you are still carrying buckets from the stream, and the other people who were not even doing well like you are already in higher schools. So, you know, I could tell, I could see, I could tell. So it were two things. It were because of money and also.
Now, my research also shows that you are biologically, I'm talking about your children now, you have 2 boys. The attention should be more to the men, and then you begin to champion the cause of men. Now, you are in the cause of women.
I'm in the cause of women because, you know, I've traveled extensively, you know, from, we say even in Africa, Togo, Nigeria, Egypt, Benin, then we come to overseas. I've been to Germany, France, Canada, Mexico, US, England. I've been to so many countries, and it's the same story. Women are majority in the world. If you look at statistics, I can tell you that even in Ghana here, with the 24 million that we have, about 15 million are women. When you go to US, majority are women. You come to Nigeria, we have more women. So the whole world, in fact, the ratio is of women to men. It's the women are more than men. But why does it look like women are minority? Yeah, men are rather minority. And the concentration of education, concentration of everything, it's on men. And who is actually trying to help women? I don't like to use the word fight, because women should not fight with men, and they should not compete with men, but they should rather complement them. And so my, you know, trying to help women is because I can see that women have been termed as minority, and people rather have more interest in empowering men than women. In fact, when you go to Saudi Arabia right now, do you know that women cannot drive? Yet they are the majority. And let's say, look at this scenario. If a woman is in the house, she's married, she has children with the husband, right? And the man is not there, and there's an emergency. The woman is by herself. She has to take the children to emergency hospital. She has to go get a man to come and drive her, because Saudi Arabia women are not supposed to drive. And so why is it, and they are the majority, why is it that people are not looking? I don't even want to call it women's right, because why do we have right? It's just, you know, it's a blessing to even have life. And we should be able to take care of each other. But women are neglected. And so when I look at my boys and I look at my girl, my boys had a lot of choices, even in the US. There's so many choices they had. My girl didn't have a lot of choices. So I look at it that, why can't I advocate for women?
Now, this, you know, you actually pointed out a very interesting area, that women are being seen as minority. But then let me try to look at the way Bible put it. Bible did not say women are minority, but weaker vessels.
Right.
Are we translating that from the position of the Bible into what happens in the physical, that we see women as more of weaker vessels? Women, please forgive me. I'm only asking a question. Weaker vessels than being minority.
Right. And so I think the Bible, you know, we've translated as weaker, but when it comes to the world, they want to translate it as minority.
Okay.
You know, the same way we translate faith in the Bible. And then when you come to the world, they say risk. Risk taking is the same thing. And so people have translated that to be minority, and even created a lot of jobs where they think men, it's more available to men than women. And so you can see that weakness being translated everywhere around the world. Wherever you go, it's all women. But look at it this way. I even come back and I ask men, who is even feeding the world? You look at farming right now. Who is into farming? Women are more into farming. It's women that go to farm, especially in Africa here. It's women that are farming to feed the whole world. And so why are they seen as minority? When it comes to other things like small businesses created, you go around the world, in the US, in Ghana, in Egypt, everywhere, women have created small businesses. They've created little businesses. And so that means women have even hired more people than men have. Yet women are seen as minority and they are not empowered. And so if women are empowered, there's so much that they can do. Why can't men, my fight, if I have to use the word fight, my fight, it's with men. I'm saying men, get on board and let's help your wives. Let's help your sisters. Let's help your daughters, because they are being seen as the minority, but we can help them.
But we can help them. I've been speaking with Dr. Sumney. Dr. Akosuah Sumney is the director of Mission Africa Institute of Technology. We'll be looking at that. Now, you've been in the U.S. for years. From when?
I went to the U.S. 1989.
All right. Now.
And then I was there till 2000. I never, came back to Africa. So for 11 years, I didn't come. But after that, every year, I come about 3-4 times.
Then what have you brought? Because when we begin to look at, and this is a woman that is talking about women empowerment, women doing this and that, then what, since that time, what have you really done for African women? Because a whole lot of people want to know that African women are also being liberated. For instance, the Beijing conference had brought a lot of new excitement to African women. So what have you brought as a person?
Good. I also believe the Beijing conference you mentioned helped me a lot as a woman. Okay. And so what I did is, when we founded the Mission Africa Incorporated as a humanitarian organization, I started recruiting not just women, because even though I advocate for women, I'm not just somebody that only want to deal with women. I started recruiting both men, women, children, boys and girls from the US who have something to showcase in Africa. And so for 10 years, I've been able to bring 1,000 people from the US. Wow. 1,000. In fact, even the government has not been able to bring 200 people from the U.S. on a stretch sitting in one plane. I remember one time we had a Ghana Airways, the last year of the Ghana Airways, I brought 55 Americans sitting in the Ghana Airways plane, and we were almost the only people sitting in the airplane coming to Africa. Out of these 1,000 people that I have brought from America, 700 of them are women. And some of them are professors, some of them are doctors, some of them are nurses, some of them work in the church. So I brought all kinds of background surgeons to come and help in this country. And we have done a lot. We have built schools in the remote areas. If we had a screen, I could have shown a lot of pictures. We have built schools like by the banks of the Volta River. We built schools for 250 children who were not going to school. They were just following their parents to fish, And we have built a lot of things for girls and boys in this country. We've done, even the Tema Clinic, the Tema General Hospital, they did not have eye services. Okay. And so we brought doctors from the US to even set up eye services department for the Tema General Hospital. Wow. with the Tema Manche. And we've been to a lot of schools. We've even taken some of them to the banks. We went to Data Bank. One time I brought a whole group to Data Bank, to see what kind of business they can also do. So talking about what have I brought to US, I brought over 1,000 people who have come to this country to help in different areas, even in the Parliament House. Every year we hold a conference, Parliament Christian Conference, where we just go and pray for good governance. We pray for our leaders, because I know a lot of people criticize leaders. But what are you going to get from just criticizing if you are not praying for them, if you are not helping them? So we go there, we pray for them, and we try to be friends with them, and then let them also know that there are people behind them. They can also copy. Ghana is copying, Africa is copying all these American nasty things that Americans are doing that doesn't bring any development. If you can copy that, why don't you copy the good things they have? If our boys and girls can copy them and, you know, pull their pants down and do all kinds of stuff, it's unnecessary. Why can't we copy the good things they have done? So we bring the good things that can cause development, and I have championed a lot of that into this country.
Now, before we go into Mission African Institute of Technology, I think the signal has just come that we go for a break. But before then, I have seen you around a man who also believes in Africa, talking about your husband, Dr. Sumney. Now, could you say that his vision has also rubbed on your vision?
That's interesting. I wish we were doing Bible here too. I know, the Bible says that the woman is a special helpmate. And so I believe that when you marry, by all means, the vision of the man will rub on you. You find yourself doing some of the things that the man is doing. Even though I'm my own personal human being. My own personal human being is, my background is human resources in bachelor's, and then my master's is in management and leadership. So I've also brought that into the organization. But of course, that is his vision. And for him to tap me along with his vision, I'm really grateful and enjoyed. So yes, he has Rob. Dr. Sumney is such a great man and a man of vision. And he has so much in him that I wish Ghanaians would see and tap. And Dr. Sumney, he has rubbed some on me, and I've enjoyed it.
Now you have a lot of conferences here and there, putting things together, encouraging women to do. How has it been? How are we receiving? How are Africans receiving some of the things you are bringing?
I think some of the things we are bringing, it's like championing something new. What I'm championing right now is women and ICT.
Women in ICT?
Yes.
Okay.
You can say women in ICT or women and ICT, A&D.
Okay.
Because what we are trying to do is trying to have majority of women understand basic ICT. When you say basic IT or computer, that's what people will understand it. People think it's so hard. It's not. Even the telephone that we are holding, it's ICT, I can say. Some of the cars that we are driving, when you power your window down with your finger and don't have to roll it and roll it, it's technology. We're using technology. So, and there are so many jobs in the world right now, especially in Africa, powered by technology. But you see that a lot of women have not secured those jobs because they don't know ICT. And so I am championing a thing when I'm saying women, empower yourself with ICT. Back then, when I received my degree at Kibi Presbyterian Training College in Ghana here, there was no ICT. Kitco, hello, people from Kibi Presbyterian Training College, Kitco. Hi, there was no ICT. When I did my bachelor's in the US, I can say ICT was not popular. When I did my master's and PhD, I saw that ICT was so popular. So what did I do? I took 2 more years and I went to junior college and just went and learned basic ICT and intermediary ICT. And so I'm sitting here and I'm telling women that if you want to win those jobs, if you want to get the jobs that the men are getting, because you're already there, I don't advocate for women who have children to be working outside. I don't. I advocate they should create their own jobs at home so they can have time, take care of their children, and have good relationship with their husbands because of a lot of divorce that's going on. Okay? Yes. So I myself, I created my own jobs at home until my children grew up, until my children went to college. Okay? And so ICT for women is so important so that the women that are not, they don't have children, they want to still be on the world market, can gain gainful employment. ICT is here to stay. It's not going to change. It's going to develop more. So if you're going to be there, why don't you empower yourself? I say I empowered myself. I can help you do that. That's why we have created the Mission Africa Institute of Technology on the Spinters Road. And we want every woman, every girl even boys and men, we want them to come so we can empower them in ICT, because ICT is the goal.
Now, Doctor, we'll be looking at that Mission African Institute of Technology, but before then, let's go for this short break, and when we return, my guest will continue with me. We'll be speaking on issues that borders on the development of Africa, and my guest is really, really passionate about women, and she's doing a lot. How many African countries has she really brought some Americans down to assist? All of this will come when we come back from this break. It's Trailblazers Africa, and I'm still here with Dr. Akosuah Sumney. I'll be back. Well, interesting to see have Dr. Akosuah Sumney, my special guest on the program today. We're looking at women empowerment, and this is a woman that is championing the cause, especially in the world of ICT for women. So we are back again. I'd like to welcome you again.
Thank you very much.
Right. Before now, we don't see women in ICT. Even at the moment, we have just very few. Until people like you are coming to tell the world that you can as well be an ICT expert as a woman. What was responsible for the late start of women in engineering and ICT programs?
And I think I blame the media, because the media has made it, sound like ICT and engineering is a man's work. Even when you travel overseas, like I said, I've traveled all over, and then in Africa, they look at it as a man's work. And even here in Africa right now, when you see a woman in ICT school, the men will be going, hey, she's in ICT. So what? ICT is not for men. ICT is a development, it's a stage in the 21st century. And so women should not be put aside of ICT. And women there that are watching or listening to me, I want you to know that you are in 21st century. And the 21st century is made up of ICT and technology. And so forget about the past, how women were portrayed, that women only belong to the kitchen. I go to the kitchen, I love it. Or women only belong to taking care of their children. I love it, I took care of my children. But even then, when my kids were 6 years old, I bought them their first computer. And I learned it with them, and so that I can also teach them. They taught me, I taught them. So women have been put behind the banner that ICT is for men, engineering is for men. No more. What I'm saying today is that 99% of the jobs that are out there are powered by ICT. And so if you are going to think that ICT is only for men, then women are still going to be behind.
Now, something very interesting you mentioned, that at age 6 you bought the first computer for your children. That is in the US.
Right.
Now let's come back to Africa. Now, majority of university students, permit me to say, don't even have access to computer.
That's true.
So how do we help ourselves?
How do we help ourselves here? If you remember, I said that when my parents supported me in school, it was up to elementary. And even here in Ghana, to go to training college, I had to sell oranges and water on the street. If you want to do it, you can do it. Sometimes we just want to blame people so much. So why don't you get up and do some of the things that you can do to own you a computer? If you are in the university, you can own you a computer. You can stop buying all these shoes and these expensive clothes and buy you a computer so that you can help yourself and help your family. I also know there are institutions that we can go to and say, we want you to help women in ICT, but I need people to get on board. We can do it to help them. We can go to places and also making the advertisement, talking about it on TV. A lot of women are going to hear it. I'm on Pravda Radio, and so I talk about ICT every Saturday afternoon. In my messages, women, empower yourself in ICT. So we need to have this campaign going. We have to have newspapers. We have to have advertisement. They're expensive, but we have people that want to help. Then they can help. When you come to Mission Africa Institute of Technology on the Spintex Road, that's a school that we have built, and we are
now, is
affiliated. It's not free, but it's very reasonable as compared to, you know, other ICT schools there. Other ICT schools brought by these Indians, you can see that the fees are very expensive. Sometimes 1,900, 1,900, 2,400. But in our school, with 800 Ghana, you can go through ICT course for 1 semester. With 350 Ghana, you can do ICT, basic ICT for 6 weeks on the Spintex route. So there is room, there is way for us to reach girls, boys, men, women, but especially women. So women and ICT. Women, empower yourself. Like we said, there's so many people that have finished university and they still don't know ICT. In fact, if you come to our school, you can see people from the universities, all kinds of the university, all the universities in the country. You can see people from tech, from
now,
Lagos,
Dr.
from
Sumney, don't you also think that most of us in Africa, we do not appreciate what we have? Now, you just mentioned Mission Africa Institute of Technology by you. Some people will say, oh, we want a place where there is a white man standing, a white woman standing. But here is a Dr. Sumney, who is also from US anyway, but the color